Okay, so me and Josh have been watching American Gospel, The American Gospel. It's on Netflix. It is a great series, and yeah, we're just going to say about the differences that we found between the true gospel, biblical gospel, and then
Prosperity gospel.
prosperity gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, number one kind of distinction we found when we were watching this is that the prosperity gospel, or the name and claim it, or the prosperity gospel, name it, claim it kind of movement, word of faith movement, is very man-centered. It's all about what God can do for you, how God can bless you, how following God makes your life better, makes you more successful, makes you happier, makes you more wealthy. And actually, the true gospel in the Bible is not about those things. The true gospel is Christ-centered, Jesus at the center, and it's not about you, really. It's really not about you. But prosperity gospel preachers would make it seem like everything's about you and the gospel's about you.
You have to do some sort of like extra works to like justify your faith, rather than your faith alone being enough in God.
Yeah.
It's always teaching you that something in this world is added on to Christ will get you to where you need to
Yeah,
be.
like Jesus plus something else. Another thing about the prosperity gospel preachers is they will avoid kind of topics that make people kind of cringe or squirm in their seats, like topics on hell and sin. People don't like to hear about this because pride. We have inherent pride, and no one wants to be told that they have sin, they are a sinner, they're in need of repentance, and hell is a real place. No one wants to hear that. And so prosperity gospel preachers will kind of hide and shy away from that kind of truth, to kind of win people over and to bring more number. They're more concerned about numbers, really. And actually, we realise more important than numbers is actually speaking the truth. And the most loving thing to do is speak the truth, not to kind of hide the truth from people. So hell, real things. Sin, real thing. The inherent sinfulness of people, you and me, and all of us, it's a very real thing, and repentance is something we all need to do, and we're all in need of, and we're all in need of forgiveness. This is some things prosperity gospel will avoid. You want to talk about like glory of God versus glory of man?
The glory of man, like Josh said, it focuses all on yourself. So what is it I can do? What is it I can do that can better my life? Instead of saying, oh, I've been given these gifts from God, let me use those to glorify him, to point more people towards him. It's like when we suffer in prosperity gospel, they don't want to tell you, this suffering, they'll say this suffering will go if you give this, or it will go if you do this. That's not how suffering works. And we all know this, because as soon as we say, oh God, please, get me out of this jam or something like that, sometimes it does not always happen. Does that mean God doesn't love you, or that God's just not for you? That is not true at all. It's just what we've been hearing. What we need to be doing when we're through our suffering, when we're through our times of like trials, you have to keep going. You have to have faith in God that whatever it is, you can keep going, but you have to do it with God. It's like when you're rowing a boat and you're going against the current, you're going against the grain. It's hard work. You may not be having fun, you may not be enjoying yourself, not having the best time, but you have to keep going. You look up at God, your attitude in your heart, God, I'm smiling through this, I can do this. It's really hard, I'm not having the best time, I want to have fun, I want to just relax, but no, to get to where I need to go, I need to keep going, and that's the truth of suffering.
And the gospel says that the true Christian life is a constant cycle of suffering but rejoicing. I'm struggling and going through trials but rejoicing, because we know that the joy in Jesus is so much greater than anything the world can give you. And so the prosperity preachers would say that God doesn't want you to suffer. Life should be easy and you should be happy. And actually God says, no, suffering is a real thing, a real part of life, and I use it to mature you and to grow you and to build your character, your perseverance.